Before we get into questions and stuff and so forth, just want to, because I know you guys are all wondering on the updates with some guys injury-wise, so I'll just read off the ones that will be out for the spring. A couple guys that are limited to, and a couple that are full go. Alex Asparuhoff, he'll be out. David Bird will be out. Long snapper Bubba Hampton will be out. Javante Henry, Damani Jackson, Deontay Lawson, Danny Lewis, Keon Sabb, and then we have some guys that are limited, really just to Indy only and non-contact, and Justin Jefferson, Caden Proctor, James Smith. So a lot of those, pretty much most of those injuries, all just from last season still, and expected. So nothing new there from our standpoint. I know it's probably new for you, but good to get out there. Practice one comes and goes fast. Guys did a nice job, workmanlike mentality, just out there trying to do what they can. I think just like they have been the first 6-7 weeks of training, doing what they can to be their best and bring others with them. So good leadership, accountability from just requiring the maximum effort, maximum strain, and liked what I saw.
I obviously don't want anybody to be hurt, but can those be kind of a blessing in disguise in terms of getting younger players or inexperienced players some reps?
Yeah, with the list, there's a lot of guys that are returners and upperclassmen. So there's a chance to build some depth, with our guys and get some younger guys a lot of reps.
Coach, you mentioned leadership. Who are you seeing that from specifically so far?
Well, I think it's a bigger group because we do have a lot of guys that are returning. So there's probably 10 guys that decided to come back, and I think all of those guys, along with any of the returners that were significant contributors. I can go on down the list. I just feel like maybe we don't have someone who's just over the top strong and one guy who commands all of it, but I think all of them working together, just kind of picking each other up on top of themselves. I think it's in a good spot, and I expect it to be a lot better, but I think it's at a good starting spot at this point in the year. Anything starts over with the team. It doesn't matter if it's the leadership, the installs, the drill work. It all starts over every single season.
How do you define a successful spring practice, both as an individual practice and the period, 3 or 4 weeks period?
I think it's always about just continue to climb, continue to have progress. Challenge the guys out there, either getting better or getting worse. It's individually, that's us collectively, it's your side of the ball. And so I think that's a good starting point, is which direction did you go, and I expect a great attitude, energy, effort, all that. It's always going to be that practice one, and I expect that every single practice. But there are some times where a guy, maybe it's coming back from, injury or, a rep that didn't go as well. We got to pick each other up, and that's to me, it's either you're going up or you're going down, and that's what I'm always going to gauge it by, because in the end goal, it's to be our best and to be your best individually.
Kevin, with Nick Sheridan continuing to coach quarterbacks, would you expect Ryan Grubb to gravitate a little more toward the OL, because that's kind of where he comes from as a coach?
Well, I think Coach Grubb will always still be involved with the quarterbacks. I just am a strong believer that your play caller has to be around the quarterbacks. But on your note, you're very right. It allows him to just do what you want a coordinator to do, and that's oversee every position. And he certainly has a lot of history and background with the offensive line. So I think there's eyes that start in certain spots when you're a coordinator, beyond just the quarterback. And I think a lot of times his eyes, he can see it all. He can see him line up on the perimeter, but he also really is feeling and seeing and has an intuition on what's going on up front with the offensive line. So that's really good with he and Coach Cap.
Did the quarterback battle solve itself today?
It solve itself? No. Good question there, Nick. No, it's it's something. I mean, they're all at different points, but a few things procedure-wise that are a little different. Good to see those guys all operate through that. They all had their times, of course, where they looked really good, and times where they got to continue to grow and get better.
The roster says that Keelan put on, I think, 17 pounds. How much different does he look now than when you were, recruiting him out of high school?
Yeah, I saw him last summer, and saw him in person for one game last fall. So, he's in pads and all of that at that time too. So he looks good right now. Strong and moves around. He's just a good all-around athlete. But the weight program for him is certainly any new guy is going to be critical. And it's good to get that first phase under the belt. That's why being an early enrollee is so important. And then obviously now even through the spring, there's multiple reasons, but one of the reasons we go every other day and not back-to-back ever is just so we can get big days of lifting in, really a minimum 3 times a week.
You mentioned Caden Proctor. I'm curious what kind of the plan is on your end for who you want to see kind of rep at left tackle.
Yeah, it'd be a combination because we don't want to, we got to have some guys that can move out. We're thin at that position, especially when you look at the experience at that position. So there's some couple guys we can move out. Olas played a little bit of tackle, a couple snaps, but we want to make sure he can focus on guard too. So as we go through the spring, and we just didn't want to throw a bunch of freshmen out there with the ones or some younger guys. That was kind of one of the rotations we used in one of the team periods today, for example.
With a guy like Michael Carroll who could play tackle but probably projects more to guard, do you use him more as a tackle now in the spring, or what's the plan?
He took some reps there today. Again, you don't want to, especially for a young guy. I mean, there's a lot of called bullets flying, right? And so you don't want to make it harder than it needs to be for him, but and so you try to keep him in the same position for multiple practices, but also that flexibility for a guy like Michael does exist, and he does have that frame where he could play some tackle, even though, like you said, he probably down the road, end game, probably more of a guard, but that's what I love about some of the guys. They're athletes, so they're versatile. They can play maybe not all 5 spots because that gets a little confusing, but you can play right side, or you can play left side, or you can play right tackle, or right guard, left guard. The interior guys, really, you try to learn center as well.
What are you hoping to see from the winner of the eventual quarterback competition?
Well, I mean, it's got to be a guy that can deliver the ball, command the huddle, command everything we do with the team, just that presence and that belief and confidence in your signal caller. And so, it starts with a lot of that, just the belief. But the belief comes because you're making the throws and, you're getting the ball to the guys in a fashion where they can go make their plays and reap the rewards of all the work that they put in.
You've dealt with a lot of high-end quarterbacks. Where does Keelan how does he rank compared to other true freshmen that you've dealt with? I guess people coming in, how more is he advanced? Is he at that level?
Yeah, he's up there. He certainly is. I mean, he's got a long ways that he to go because I think that's the way he looks at it, and he's excited about what this growth is going to be even during this spring. But his ceiling and what he accomplished through what you can see on the high school film, he's a pretty elite quarterback. Coming in as a high school senior, current freshman for us.
Obviously, a young room at linebacker too. Oh, sorry.
No.
A young room at linebacker too with Justin Jefferson out. How important was kind of those winter practice sessions with those linebackers, and kind of what do you expect out of them this year?
Yeah, really those guys being here for the pre-bowl practices. That was really good. Abdul, Luke, Duke, all the 3 of those guys. They really got a feel. And it's a social thing too, just getting comfortable with some of the relationships, and then they get here and they're already kind of off and rolling. In some ways, it ain't gonna be long. We're not gonna think of all these early enrollees not as freshmen anymore. We're gonna think of them as almost sophomores.
You mentioned that with Danny Lewis being out for the spring, between that and losing Dupree and losing Oots, are you feeling as thin at tight end as maybe any other spot?
Yeah, you're right. Certainly are. We got some belief, and we love what Josh can do, Cuevas. But as far as numbers and guys that have a lot of experience, we certainly are thin there. We expect Danny by the summer, to be back and rolling. So he knows our system. It's just a matter of the progress that we want to see him make, getting the reps that would have been his, it's unfortunate that he has his injury, something again going back to last fall during the season. But there's some other guys that are going to hop in there. You got Jay and you got Peter who came in, just some other guys that are going to get a chance to take advantage, and they get to develop too. We're going to need them this fall when the season hits.
Betty Collins' question with the linebackers: how are you doing with the communication with the depth at the linebacker, with the green dot and calling the defense?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're not concerned about how many are on the field, so multiple guys can hear the communication. We're not under those regulations in practice, but it's good for all of them to get that experience. But we'll go with the veteran guys. Deontay this fall will be the prime guy. Justin would probably be the number 2. Both of those guys are out, so there's a lot of stuff being thrown at some new faces on the defense when it comes to the communication, the green dot.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about your wide receiver room, and also what does Isaiah Horton bring to your team?
Yeah, I think it's a room that got longer. Jalen Hale coming back, really he was here, but just not with us because of his injury. Isaiah and even the young guy, Derek Meadows, and then again, just the room in general, when you look at them, they look like longer, taller, and Isaiah in particular, since you asked, just a lot of production. He's been out there. The lights aren't going to be too bright for him. You can see just his focus in the phase of workouts that we had. It's important to him. He came here for a reason, because he wanted to be pushed. He wanted to be challenged. He wanted to come around here. He wasn't scared of competition. And some guys that are in the program that Germ and Ryan, that had a lot of production themselves. So he added to the room, and we're excited about his personality, his attitude that he brings. So it's been nothing but positive.
Coach, you recently spoke on having a modified spring game. Can you just talk about what that looks like for Alabama, and also talk about just seeing the potential it has on college football, about the possibility of them limiting spring game, limiting spring action, limiting spring coverage, stuff like that. Can you just speak on that?
Yeah, I guess I would consider last year's spring game, A-Day, probably a modified game. We didn't split teams up. We talked about the O-line depth, we talked about tight end depth and all that kind of stuff, and we'll see how the spring goes. To me, it's just something where we want to have a controlled reps, so line it up and getting something out of the practice, because I think all 15 practices that we get are really important. Getting something out of that, and as we go through the spring, we'll continue to figure out where we're at to see what we want to do when it comes to the day itself. So we want to make it a great celebration for our fan base. We want to put some football out there, because we know everyone associated with our program, the fan base, can't wait for April 12th. But we also got to do what's right for us, and so that's kind of will be something as we get closer that I can probably give you a little more info on.
Coach, what was your mindset these last couple of months from the bowl game until now, and what do you want to build off of last season, take into this season, or maybe improve on some things?
It first just starts with work. Just put in the work and just show up and focus only on the day. I mean, I barely even wanted to give the guys a schedule of March of what it looked like on it, other than that I just needed to tell them what day they needed to be back from spring break. We've been so focused just on that day and that day only, not really getting our head of ourselves. They definitely don't know anything about what the spring game would look like, because really we focused on today, and tomorrow we'll have a team meeting just to focus on learning from today, and barely take it from that. So it's not getting ahead of ourselves. It's just coming in and working. An example of just, even our winter workouts, our fourth quarter, it's never focusing on, and it's kind of related to this same topic. It's never about trying to see, or wonder what's this workout all going to involve, or can I make it through it. It's about going as hard as you can that rep. And you might not make it through the whole thing, because there's no gas left in the tank, but you can see this competitive stamina continue to build throughout the fourth quarter workouts, because guys just gave it everything. They had that rep, then they focused on the next one, and I really love the mindset, and that's one example of how we're trying to approach it.
Coach, the documentary Fox Nation is doing, did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy kind of seeing behind all that kind of come together?
Yeah, I think it's good, and there's just so many people that don't understand these guys and their stories. I think that's what you really want to come out in these. And what I think we wanted, I know we wanted in a documentary, was there's so many really neat personalities, characters on our team. Just learning their journey. They all have a story, and really there's football, right? I mean, in order to have something around Alabama Crismon Tide football, there's got to be some shots of football games, locker room. I know people like to see that too because you're not able to be in there with us, but it was actually not much of a distraction. There's one camera around practice, really, that the entire time, and so I love that maybe there's some interviews or the camera went home with some guys and we get to learn more about their families. We know a lot about them, but I think there's probably been something here or there that I've actually learned even watching it, that's really deep and really something I didn't know going back to their childhood days, especially here only 1 year. But I think it's been cool, share with everyone the journey, but also get a chance to be kind of in the facilities and around the program maybe a little bit more than most would have the chance to.
Has the highlight of your offseason been watching your daughter hit a home run against Alabama to start her career? That had to be a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it was a cool moment, and proud of her. I think when it comes to your kids, you want what they want. You want to be happy. I'm that dad coach, so I love seeing the response to adversity, but I also, you want your kid to enjoy those moments that you work so hard for. So I'm really proud of her and everything she does. It's not just being a softball player, but being a person. It's not easy being a coach's kid sometimes, and so the way she handles it, along from the rest of my family, my other daughter as well. Certainly proud of her. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Kalen.